Yo, what up, my beautiful dowdies? How's everyone doing today? I'm your host, Fao. Let's talk about sustainers. I think we're reaching a point into the game where we need way more sustainers to expand the variety in Honkai Star Rail. I've talked about this in a previous video as well, but we don't have enough sustainers in the game. If we look at the preservation roster, we have a free unit, March 7th. Japart is a standard banner 5-star character, and we only have 2 limited sustainers in the game. Then, the Abundance is the exact same thing. We only have 2 limited healers, which are Luocha and Ho-Ho. Then we have 1 standard banner healer. And then we have Gallagher, Lynx, and Natasha. And Natasha and Lynx are literally for free. And Gallagher is now, in this specific time, also kind of free. We get a free 4-star selector, and he's on the banner as well. So, in general, there is not that much choice. Honkai Star Rail is actively evolving. We are moving in a direction to the game where more team compositions are possible. More characters are needed to clear everything efficiently. Better management is needed. Better strategy is needed, you know. So that we don't have that many sustainers as options is actually very strange to me. I think that the Honkai Star Rail team, that Hoyoverse, has to put way more sustainers out there. I think Gallagher was a great example on how the sustaining role can be done right. I talked about Gallagher in a previous video on how he's getting better and better every patch and how he changed up the meta, because break is a new mechanic in the game. Super break meta is the new strategy in Honkai Star Rail. Gallagher is the sustainer for that role. There's no other character that really does what he does, synergizing with break. He completes a strategy in this game. And I think that is really well done by Star Rail. It's a bit funny to see it on a 4-star. And yet again, the Luocha Gallagher train, I think Gallagher is 10 times better than Luocha. Luocha literally just keeps your team alive. And that's not necessarily bad. You can clear any content in the game with Luocha, you know, with good team setup, and he's SP positive and he does his job. However, if you take a Ho-Ho, if you take a Aventurine or a Fushuan, they do more than just keeping your team alive. Especially Aventurine and Ho-Ho, you know? Fushuan just gives that crit rate and is a very special sustainer, you know, because she has damage negation, crowd control resistance, you know, so she's a very special one. But if you take Aventurine and Ho-Ho, they literally do like attacks, debuff, attack percentage, energy regen, you know, like they do more than just sustaining. If you look at Japart just perma shields if you have a well-built Japart, but that's also just what he does. Bailu as well. Bailu is a phenomenal healer, but just heals, right? Just keeps your team alive. Doesn't have a cleanse, which is very sad. However, has an res and other capabilities, right? Overhealing. So the roster is now too small. I think where we can, in my opinion, we only have 3 sustainers in the game right now that are really for a specific strategy. And the rest is kind of just whatever you feel like or whatever you need or whatever you have on your account. Gallagher, Ho-Ho, and Aventurine are the only 3 sustainers in the game that really synergize well with a comp or specific comps. Gallagher is extremely good for break. Ho-Ho is extremely good for DOT. And I would say maybe a little bit of hyper carry. And Aventurine is for follow-up attacks. Now, don't get me wrong, a bunch of these characters also can go in other comps if you don't have anything else. They're still sustainers and they will still sustain your team, you know, keep your team alive. Fushuan is not in here because Fushuan is just a sustainer. Gives crit rate, but doesn't synergize with a specific comp, other than maybe Mono Quantum. Her core mechanic or her core being is not that she really prevails at a specific team composition. That might change maybe in the future, where she all of a sudden is a character that really scales with, I don't know, effect resistance or something. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, then she has her niche there. But those are the 3. The others just keep your team alive or give a little bit of bonus on top of it while keeping your team alive, like a Fushuan. There is not enough crafting, not enough team building here for sustainers. We can clearly see the issue here as well with people that are very, very well built, you know, have crazy team setups, are zero cycling everything in the game. They don't use sustainers because sustainers have no value for them. And I think it's very fun to see, especially with Gallagher. They really went with the right direction with Gallagher. Gallagher is still being put in zero, quote-unquote, zero cycle team compositions because he is so good with the break synergy. He still does a lot of damage and he still provides value, you know? So if you get sustainers in the game that or have a very cool mechanic that all of a sudden flips the meta or flips the complete composition that you have, like let's say takes HP from the whole party and then applies a shield, or takes their own HP and then puts a percentage over the other people, maybe has scaling with HP, actually gives you permanent HP throughout the fight, so people that scale with HP can benefit from it. Like, there's a lot of interesting mechanics you can actually do with the sustaining wise. Or you have the other side where they just do something where they're really good for specific comp. Like, let's say, freeze, you know? If there's one thing in the game that's very interesting and it's not talked about enough, it's like certain compositions that only work or in that specific composition. Freeze, imagine if you have a composition built around freeze, and you would have a sustainer that applies or enhances freeze. That means that is a very key component for that specific comp. Give the game more ways to play it overall. Gallagher, again, does this well. He is the break sustainer. Sustainer does really well with break, and he's really made for that specific area. Now, I'm not saying that we now only should put out sustainers that only work with this specific comp. I'm just saying that we need more choice for our team building, because other than Gallagher, Ho-Oh, and Aventurine, the other sustainers are literally just to fill the sustaining role. You could disagree with this, that we should just have sustainers that just sustain. That could be an overall good thing in the game. However, that is already too late, right? That idea is already gone the moment Ho-Oh and Fushuan came into the picture. Ho-Oh was literally a harmony sustainer, and Fushuan gives like stat bonuses on top of the sustaining capabilities. Now Aventurine does the same. So now to the end of time, I'm pretty sure when a new sustainer comes out, they do more than just keeping your team alive. And I think it's a positive thing in the game, actually. Because having a sustainer on the team that just heals and does nothing else is boring. Look at Natasha, look at Lynx. They are very unfun to use gameplay-wise, and they don't bring any value, and you don't want them on your team. Now, Lynx has more niche than Natasha, though, because she, like, makes sure that you can get hit more, right? With the destruction, they get certain characters can get hit more, and she has, like, an AoE cleanse and also overhealing capabilities for, like, Clara Blade, whatever. But actually having a team composition with a sustainer in it that makes that comp better than taking out the sustainer for more damage, I think that is a very healthy way for the game. That's my opinion, though. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you take Ho-Oh, for example, if you have Kafka, Black Swan, and let's say Asta and Ho-Oh, Asta would buff the DOTs as well, give speed, whatever. And then you have Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh actually helps that comp a lot. And if you take Ho-Oh away, that comp's value would drastically go down because of all the ult uptime she gives, all the attack percentage for more DOT damage, you know? If you take that part away, that puzzle piece is gone, comp loses so much value. And it's the same thing with Aventurine. If you have now a follow-up attack composition, and you take away Aventurine as the sustainer, the value of the whole follow-up team, especially when you have Robin and stuff, goes down drastically. And that doesn't mean that these comps are unplayable. It's just that they really help out the comp, and they are sustained units. It's extremely cool to see. Hey, pause the video right now. Over 90% of you people that watch my videos actually are not subscribed to my channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would actually consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind after. Let's continue with the video. And if we have only 4 limited sustainers in the game right now, there is literally no choice to have cool ideas or to expand our team capabilities, you know, like that us players can think about cool compositions. Hey, maybe this works. Maybe this is just good. That we are able to expand our brains with 4 limited sustainers is not fun, you know? And that's why people make team compositions without sustainers, or they don't need it, because first of all, there's not enough choice. And most of the time, having another harmony unit or another some type of damage is better to maybe clear stuff faster. Now we're really talking about min-max, 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 you know, like extremely min-maxed accounts that don't benefit from any defense. You know, the better offense, the better defense there. However, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that really like sustainers. And I know a few people as well myself. And I think the community overall really likes the comfort that sustainers bring. And that's why Luocha, yet again, is such a popular character still to this day, because he's very comfortable. And a lot of people don't care about zero cycling. It doesn't matter in general how fast you can clear it. It just matters that you can 3-star it, you know? So Luocha 100% can make sure that you 3-star stuff. So it doesn't really matter. However, it does matter what sustainer you want to put in a specific team. And that's where it goes wrong, you know, because we don't have enough things to choose from. Look at the destruction path. We have 4 limited destruction characters, and we got a bunch of 4-stars as well. Imagine if both the preservation and abundance role had 4 different sustainers. The complete meta would already change, and the tier list would completely change. Their value would change. All the other characters' value would change as well, because depending on what these sustainers do, maybe other characters are being put up again, you know? It would be so healthy for the game if we had way more choice. Let's say there's a sustainer out there that every time the same character gets a turn, that character gets overtime healing and a damage bonus. So many characters would all of a sudden want that sustainer. Let's take a Zayla, for example. Zayla manipulates a lot of turns, right? She can manipulate the way that she can go multiple times, of course, with her resurgence and stuff. So she would, over time, scale a lot of damage. I would benefit a lot from having a sustainer like that on the team. Let's take a Dunhang E2. Every time 100% advanced forward, he gets more damage. Same thing for Firefly. Jing Liu. When she attacks, she would get a stack, and then when she goes into her enhanced form, she gets another stack of damage. Acheron would even benefit from it. She would do her E, and then while you can ult, all of a sudden, she would get another stack of damage. So every time they would take a turn, these characters would get more damage. And to have a strategy or a composition with that would completely change up the meta again. Imagine Bronya and Sparkle and Robin. All of a sudden they, with advancing forward, would get way more value on top of that as well. Bronya can advance someone 100% forward. So let's say you would take a Zayla, Bronya, and that sustainer unit. Zayla would skyrocket in damage in that battle because of the so many turns you have. Bronya would get more value because with that sustainer, Bronya goes up the tier list again because her advancement forward is very valuable. Same goes for Sparkle. Same goes for Robin. Everyone gets advanced forward. Follow-up attacks would all of a sudden get another strategy. Instead of Aventurine just being there while just giving them a follow-up attack, you would actually get more damage for the follow-up attacks. You know, different strategies. That's why abundance characters and preservation characters have such fun mechanics that you could put in there. This is, of course, an idea that I had that I just thought about. But a fun preservation or abundance unit with some sort of mechanic while sustaining your team can drastically change up the meta, and you can have so many different strategies there. Sustaining all of a sudden becomes like a super valuable thing, and you actually want to choose these characters over another Harmony character. Because having 3 Harmony characters on the team and then clearing specific content, to me, is a little bit of a boring way to play the game in some way, because of course it's very fun to zero cycle stuff. I get that. However, for the actual turn-based strategy aspect of the game, having all these cool mechanics for these preservation units would completely change up the meta and would have a completely different view. I always thought it would be fun where there's a preservation unit with a shield that takes 1 hit of damage. And it doesn't matter if it's a little basic attack from the enemy or an insane nuke, you still take no damage. This mechanic is kind of in the game already. I think it's with Argenti as well. When you clear one of his side minions or shields that he spawns, then one of the character that kills it gets 1-time shield, right? Imagine that there's a preservation unit that puts that on the entire team. And then you have a very fun mechanic where or it saves your life every time, or an enemy is going to take a turn and a random small enemy is going to take damage, and then the shield kind of got wasted, right? It could be a very fun mechanic all of a sudden where you have to build around with and time it well. It could be like an ultimate, and maybe while you have that shield, you maybe get like a little bit of crit rate or whatever. You know, you can do a lot of cool stuff for these preservation units or these abundance characters. I still think it's also fun to have an abundance character that scales with DOT. Imagine the blessing in the simulated universe where every time a dot would proc, the entire party would get healed. Imagine that, like a passive. So you actually want to have 3 DOT people on your team that can apply it. Then the abundance character. You have Kafka, Black Swan, and Go Knife maybe. And then every time their dot would proc, everyone gets healed. Or when Kafka detonates the DOT. You know, you can have a lot of cool synergies there again. There's so much strategy and choice to put on these preservation and abundance characters that would completely change up the meta. This is just some ideas that I have, and I do think that the roster has to be expanded. The sustaining role is boring, and I think we can do way better there, and I do hope they're going to step up their game with their abundance and preservation characters, because I hope a year from now, we at least have like 8 to choose from overall, right? So I hope that's going to be the case. I hope they're going to have fun ideas. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, though. Let me know some ideas that you guys think would be very cool preservation or abundance character, you know, a cool synergy that's not in the game yet. I'd love to hear your guys' takes on the overall idea. You know, maybe you guys think there's enough abundance and preservation characters already. Maybe you think this is not a problem at all. Hey, let me know, and let me know why. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It means the world to me if you could do that. Make sure to join the Discord. We're trying to grow the community even further. And if you want to support the channel even further, then become a member. I love you all, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Take care. Peace.